also victims. And this stage of the movement reached its climax with the murder of Vincent Chin in 1982, when all over the country, students mobilized, and we felt we had a movement going that forced people to recognize. Well, we're no longer in 1982. We're in 2012. And just the other day, for example, a barge from the tsunami and Fukushima in Japan arrived on the shores of Oregon. That's how closely linked we are now to the Pacific and to the Asian nations. When Chen Guangzhen is abused or suffers abuse in China, do we take a position? What do we think about that? Do we say things about the smog in China and about the growing rate of cancer? Is that what we need to be thinking about? Or, Scott and I, two Asian Americans, have written a book called The Next American Revolution. And the first chapter is entitled, These Are the Times to Grow Our Souls. And this book also talks about how in Detroit we are building a post-industrial society. And it talks about Martin and Malcolm as people on whom we draw for strength. How do we as Asian Americans relate to that? What are we going to do in the 21st century? Are we going to take stands on what's happening in Asia? Are we going to take stands on what's happening in this country? This book by Scott and myself is being received extraordinarily well. It's being read in a lot of different classes and is being assigned by many university professors. You can get a copy of the first chapter entitled These Are Times to Grow Our Souls by going to the University of California Press, and they will send you a copy of the first chapter. I really urge you to read it, because we are living in a situation in the United States today which demands leadership. And not just leadership in Congress, not just leadership in Lansing, not just leadership in elections. We are entering into a very extraordinary period when a lot is going to be demanded of us in terms of thinking about what the 21st century is going to be like. Detroit was once the national, the international symbol of the miracles of industrialization. And a few years after that, it became the national, international symbol of the devastation of deindustrialization. Now people are coming from all over the world to see how we are creating a post-industrial society here in Detroit. Not because we wanted to, but because there was so much vacant land that we had to look at it either as blight or as the possibility for urban agriculture. People are looking to Detroit. Next week, some Swedish journalists are coming to look at the community gardens in Detroit. We have 1,000 community gardens in Detroit. We are creating a new system of education in Detroit, a place-based education. We are redefining education. We are redefining work because we know the jobs are gone. And we know that jobs represent a form of imprisonment on the assembly line, a form of dehumanization, and that we have to create a form of work that actually skills people and enhances their humanity rather than ties them to the assembly line. We are in a very extraordinary place in the United States, an extraordinary place here in Michigan, an extraordinary place here in the city of Detroit. And we, as Asian Americans, have a challenge to ask ourselves, where do we stand on this? Are we just a model minority? Or are we going to take responsibility for leadership, both on the national scale and on the world scale? I am a very old woman. I am hard of hearing. I have very few teeth. I fall a lot. I go around in a wheelchair. But as I say, I still have most of my marbles. And what I find is there are more and more young people who are looking for guidance, who are looking for leadership, who want to know, are we struggling to grow our economy, even at the risk of destroying the planet? Or are we going to grow our souls and expand our humanity? That's an extraordinary place to be at this time on the clock of the world. And it challenges each of us, not only whites, not only blacks, but whatever color we are. We are challenged, every one of us who lives on this planet is challenged to decide, are we going to extinguish all living things? Are we going to keep growing economies in order to get politicians elected, even at the expense of destroying the economy? Or are we going to grow our souls and grow a kind of city, a kind of economy that grows our humanity? That's a wonderful, wonderful, dangerous place to be. And I challenge each one of you, and hope that each of you feels challenged. Thank you.